Continuing with our story about Gideon, we come now to the reducing of the army. God wanted to demonstrate his power by having a small army. And so when Gideon, first of all, blew his trumpet, 32,000 turn up. And that's far too many for God. So God says, tell those who are afraid to go home. And it says that of the 32,000, 22,000 went home and left 10,000. Now it's interesting, that thing about let the fearful go home, that actually was something that was written into Jewish style of fighting battles anyway. You'll find back in the book of Deuteronomy, we're told that if any are fearful of the battle, they should withdraw, lest they should let others become afraid. Fear kind of catches on from one to another. It's a bit like a fire. And God doesn't want his armies fearful. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's not like, so Christianity is only for tough guys, eh? You just have to have muscles and be fearless, then you can be a Christian. Actually, no. Actually, you know, when Gideon said, let the fearful go home, well, we remember how we first met Gideon. He was hiding in a cave. He's trying to deal with the wheat, threshing the wheat in a cave. It was ridiculous. He is himself a fearful guy. It's like, let all the fearful go home. Follow me, I know a way. No, really, Gideon, by faith, out of weakness, was becoming strong. And that's the key for God's armies, for God's people. That it's not that fear is unreal. No, we all know something about fear. We read in the Psalms, the psalmist says, whenever I'm afraid, I'm going to trust in God. I will not fear. It's like I'm taking myself in hand. I'm not going to yield to it, because fear is something we can either go with or resist. And it's on the basis of who God is. I think it was last year at the church I'm based in, we did a series like questions Jesus asked. And when it was my turn to preach, I chose this verse. Jesus said to them, why are you afraid? Now, it's a strange thing, really, because it says they were in a storm. The water was pouring into the boat. These were experienced fishermen, and they thought they're going to drown. And God says to them, why are you frightened? Well, you think, come on, who wouldn't be scared? But when I preached it, I felt the thing that God impressed upon me was, why are you afraid? I mean, anybody would be afraid of a storm, but why are you afraid? Why are you afraid? You're my disciples. You know I'm committed to you. You know I've said, follow me. You know I've said, let's go over to the other side. You know I've said, I'll never fail you. I'll never forsake you. The things you know help you overcome fear. And so for us, beloved, we need to be assured by the things we know. So fear of the future, well, God has the future in hand. Fear of what's going to happen to me financially, God's made all kinds of promises. Fear of will I be accepted, God has said things that are enough to banish fear. Oh, fear is a natural thing. But why are you afraid? You should know better. That's the implication that Jesus said to his disciples in a storm. Why are you afraid? And he's going to have an army, and the fearful won't be in the army. That's not because you have to be really bold. It's because you have to overcome the fear that sometimes knocks on your door and refuse it and say, no, I have put my confidence in God. I'm not going to let fear dominate my life. Let me encourage you to take that stand.